Welcome to Metatron's Metaverse. I am your trippy tripsy, psychedelic psychopomp, Tahuti Hermes Trismegistus, aka Quetzalcoatl Calloway, and you are tapping in to the root of the symmetry so you can tune in to the mind of Mercury as we explore how all of our consciousness creates any environment that is allowing us to experience what matters. And overall, spiritually, what matters is your emotions. Straight up fact, if your emotions did not matter, then you would not be beating your heart. I'm just saying, you would not be beating your heart if your emotions did not matter. So this is very important for us to actually address why you're alive, why I'm alive, why we feel like connecting in an environment, why climate change is important, why is nature important. Everything dealing with nature is connected to each other. So this is what we are talking about when it comes to your consciousness and my consciousness. Because although our forms of consciousness are connected, they're also separate. And this is everything. So this is the whole point of us communicating. Now we can find balance on Mercury about what connects us and what separates us. So I am creating this entire series to show you how Metatron views the universe. Each universe in existence is a cosmic weight. Now, each universe being a cosmic weight basically means that each universe is a big 8 in which we all use to reel 8. So I like rhymes. Spider-Man likes to make these vibrations stick. This is how God has shown me the vibe keeps all of us aligned throughout time. So in general, each universe as an 8 is a weight that we use to relate. So I like to relate with people on lifting weights, and in general, that's how Metatron views every universe. Each universe is a gym where we work out our emotions together. So notice how this doesn't leave any room for us not taking responsibility for our power. As Spider-Man, as Tahuti Hermes Trismegistus, I created that statement, with great power comes great responsibility, to describe everything we're going to be talking about in this whole series. Fire and water, men and women. And that is today's video specifically. Man being fire, woman being water, and how all of us as children of God can see these energies play out in the atmospheres that we choose to breathe life into. So we are abolishing sexism, okay? Abolishing sexism. You as a spirit, as a space, are both a man and a woman. You have both fire and water. That's how you create the mind, your child, that allows you to air out your feelings. And now you can be seen as a child of God. So in Zoroastrianism, this is where I, as a Ahura Mazda, am letting you know that you, as a child of God, gave birth to yourself. And you work with others to give birth to yourself. That's why other spirits had to be having sexy sex with one another to create the simulation that allowed you to experience the flesh. This is all of us. We were all born into this simulation through sexual relations of spaces outside of ourselves. That's why I'm not my physical mom. She's a different spirit. I'm not my physical dad. He's a totally different spirit than me. But I, as an individual spirit, worked with them to be born into this reality as your trippy tripsy, psychedelic psychopomp, Chase Clarence Calloway. So this is the power of teamwork. This is why reality is not being manipulated by one God, using all of us to talk to himself. All of us are infinitely individual gods, aka spirits, who are choosing to make one idea of God relatable. So that's every universe. Each universe is ruled under one idea of God. And that one idea of God is the amalgamation of all the imaginations of the individuals who want to kill themselves together. And this is where we get the idea of killing one's ego. So for you to be alive, you've already killed your ego. That's why you can't do what you imagine right now. So everything you can imagine and see, that's your ego. That's inside your own space. So the fact that you're experiencing a body inside of this atmosphere with me and my family, all of your families, all your friends, everyone on earth, The fact that we're all here able to imagine things that none of us can see means that we are all in our own egos before we are in our own souls. And this is why man is fire, woman is water. Man as fire correlates to ego, woman as the water correlates to the soul. And this is how we all create our minds. So your mind is created by your ego sitting in your soul. And this is where Metatron wants you to know that your mind is your Merkaba. So I'm hoping that once people learn that they as a spirit have to both be a man and a woman to even experience what it means to be a child of God, then we will not have sexism anymore. I know that seems childish. Maybe it's just my ego imagination. I really want to see everyone treated fairly, equally, in a balanced Mercurian fashion, being seen as a spirit, knowing that we can't see spirits, but once we understand we can't see spirits, now we have empathy. And now we don't let racist religions justify rape and genocide. Now we won't support the military industrial genocidal complex in general. Now we won't support climate change. Hopefully we won't support destroying each other, destroying the environment, hurting animals, doing all this messed up stuff to nature in general, because people actually learn empathy. The whole issue with white supremacy is that we're not taught to view ourselves as spirits. So because we're not taught to view ourselves as space, we have our consent taken away. That's why these religions are rapist religions. Therapists, you put space between the E and the R, therapist becomes the rapist. Their idea of helping us is literally raping us with religions that erase our history. I, as a Native American, know this to be straight up facts. But the people who are erasing my history and stealing my land are going to gaslight me, lie to me, and tell me that I'm lying about my past, and they're telling the truth about why they're stealing my past and taking everything from me. And I just need to be a good little black boy servant. I need to be Spider-Man and hold the system together. I'm already Spider-Man. We already have Wednesday as Mercury in the middle of the week holding the system together. This shit is not okay. So my God, aka God, the God of this universe, the gods of this universe, straight up called me away. I'm chased call away. I chased the call away from my space so I could be born into this simulation as Tahuti Hermes Trismegistus, because this is my job. Now when you go on to chase your genes and you look at all my past lives, you can see that this is what I do. God calls me away because I'm God's architect. I'm called away from my space to build better simulations, better civilizations, so that God can experience better imaginations than white supremacist colonizers taking everything from me and then lying to me about it. As they make money destroying the environment, saying none of us are smart, none of us know how the environment works. So let's talk about how the environment works. Any universe that we are in, I've been to many universes, just as Chase, so I'm speaking from a very personal place. Any universe that we are in represents how our minds create something that we can all be conscious of. So because you and I can be conscious of the same environment, the same earth that comes out of the air that we are breathing life into, now you and I can relate. So you and I have totally different souls. So you don't have the same soul that I do, just like you don't have the same past lives that I do. So you have not made the same connections that I do. You have not made the same relations that I do. Therefore, you don't have the same memories that I do, right? So you're literally coming from a totally different space, and the soul proves that. So no one can see what my soul is doing. No one can see what my soul is thinking or feeling, because no one can see my soul in general. Anytime I want to show what my soul is thinking or feeling, now my mind has to build a body. So this is where we get the soul being water, the mind being air, the body being earth. When all of our minds are aware of earth, that represents how our souls feel like connecting with one another. So now we can see that our minds as air come after water. So now when we're breathing air, we understand that air is literally water playing out in a form that allows us to communicate. And once we can communicate based on our connections, based on our water, now we're going to build bodies out of it, which is what I'm doing with this video. That's what I'm doing with chaseyourgenes.com. Anytime I'm building, I'm using my ability to communicate to structure something that makes sense. So that's how we turn air into earth. This is how our minds build our bodies. Now, when I sit, relax, look at myself, and breathe, I can feel just how much communication is going on inside of my body. I can feel that all these cells are constantly sending signals. My neurons are firing. Electricity is jutting through the branches of my symmetry. I have all this blood flowing through all these capillaries and my vesicles. My vessels, my arteries. In general, all these connections, right? My blood is literally connecting all the cells in my body so that I can exist. And if my blood was not being manipulated by the vibrations of my heart, then my cells wouldn't be able to communicate properly. So we can literally see, I'm taking you into the space where you can see your body from the inside out. Understand that fire is the intention that makes your body work. So each time I'm moving my arms and doing anything, you see this costume, a bunch of fire, a bunch of intentions. But those intentions would not matter if I didn't create connections. So this is why fire, intention, that's a separation, but that won't exist if you don't know how to connect it. And once you connect it, that's the emotion. So I had to have emotions to connect with my intentions. So now you can see that I'm in a certain emotional state to even feel like expressing anything. If I was in full expression mode, I wouldn't have the emotions to feel like expressing myself because I would be straight up alone in my expression. So this is the point of fire than water. We're alone before we choose to connect with others. So I'm happy alone, infinitely happy alone. I'm not doing this video for me at all. I'm happy alone. I'm doing this video for you. For the universe. So boom, now I'm doing this video for everybody in the universe, and this is where we get water. So literally I'm doing this for the spaces outside of myself, and that's only possible because of water. If you and I were not connected by the same body of water, then you would not be able to observe this video, and you would not have connected with the same language anyway. So the fact is, we're all connected by water, and we're all separated by fire. So naturally, this is where we get me communicating. The moment I feel like expressing my individuality into a collective, now we have air. That's literally me talking like I am right now. And now I'm building a structure based on how I'm talking. So this is all of our minds, okay? Every single spirit is a child of God. In Zoroastrianism, this is why you are listening to me as Metatron, as Ahura Mazda, teach you what every religion in existence has been making money off of. So this is the purest space. All these religions who are using Wednesday as Woden's Day to hold their matrix together and make all the money for themselves as they enslave humans and destroy the environment, this is what they're weaponizing against us. So now you can see in your world, you're the child of God. I, as symmetry, am letting you know that really you're the avatar. And that's my point of teaching you about the elements. All right, reminding you how you got here, letting you know how you're creating the circumstance to connect with anyone. So now you're going to care more about living a better life, because that's really, to me, what life is about. Always becoming better. And that takes masculine energy. Because if you don't have an idea of what's better to you, of whatever you look up to, then you're just going to get very comfortable in what's worse. And that misery is going to make you so comfortable, you're not even going to realize you're doing things that are worse for you until it's the end of your life. You're looking back and you realize that you did not express yourself nearly as much as you should have. I, as Chase, me being 25, this is the main regret that I've heard from old people. That they didn't express themselves nearly as much as they wish that they would have. And that shows me that the government killed everyone's fire. The government taught everyone, hey, your flame needs to be tamed. Serve our system so we can destroy the environment and lie to you about the history of humans. So you, as a child of God, are a man and a woman. And as a spirit, you are neither a man or a woman, but when you want to give birth to your mentality, you have to use both your man and your woman to experience what it means to be a child. So the fact that we were all born into this world through a mom and a dad, a woman and a man, some water and fire coming together to create an atmosphere for us to exist, shows us that this is real, okay? Like, I'm talking about how we're all born. This is straight up facts. When a spirit that takes on a man body and a spirit that takes on a woman body communicate in a sexually sexual way, they literally create this simulation where a spirit like yourself, like me, can come in and use the seed of the man to be put into the egg of the woman. So that's literally us taking the fire of our dad and going into the water of our mom. And once we take the fire of our dad, the fiery dad genetics, and our watery mom genetics, now we can sit in the womb of our mom and use our minds to build the body. But like, I'm literally talking about how we're all born. And science stole all this from me so that they could teach me garbage white supremacist lies. And now I'm super deep in debt to a system that actively destroys the environment while lying to me about my own spirituality. And they're using my creations to do it. So again, this is why God called me here. Now I'm doing this video. So your man, as your fire, represents the element that you use to express your individuality. And your woman, as your water, is the element that you use to connect your individuality. So nature is going to show you that you're an individual before you chose to connect with other individuals. I have therapists and people telling me that I didn't choose to be here. I have professional adults telling me that I'm just energy, that I was never created and I'll never be destroyed, but I'm just transforming out of a big sea, a big cesspool of shit. That's what I'm being taught by therapists, by smart adults. God has explicitly shown me that I had to choose to be here, and that represents the elements. I had to literally have my own idea, my own fire that can't be tamed or seen by anyone else. And then I had to choose to kill that so that I could vibe with individuals outside of my space, which looks like me choosing to be born into this universe so I can build a body that's relatable to you. And now I can talk about how Spider-Man is stolen from Mercury because the Masons want to teach everyone that we need to hold their matrix together. And that's why Facebook changed its name to Metaverse, because they stole the matrix from Metatron. I'm making these connections because that's why I was called here as Chase Calloway. So this is my personal relationship with God. What you're seeing is me having to develop my own personal relationship with God based on me actually fasting. I was taught my entire life that Jesus fasted 40 days to talk to God. Over these past 4 years, I've fasted way more than Jesus, way more frequently. So I've been talking to God way more, I've learned way more, and I can see how everything about Jesus is stolen from Hermes. Everything about Jesus stolen from Odin, everything about Jesus stolen from Buddha, everything about Jesus stolen from Tahuti, everything about Jesus stolen from Zarathustra, everything about Jesus is stolen from the much older messengers of Mercury. Everything about Abraham is stolen from Brahma. All right, so everything that white supremacy has is stolen from me. So I'm seemingly the Spider-Man that's holding white supremacy together, and that's a lot of responsibility on me. That shit sucks. So this is why men are power, woman is responsibility. Because my man has the power to express itself, I'm responsible for upholding my expression. And this is now true for all of us. So again, this is literally the Spider-Man space. So think about Spider-Man. Because he has his man as his fire is his expression, because he has this individual idea of what he can do, that's his power, he now feels like as the woman, he's emotionally responsible for upholding his power. And that literally looks like Spider-Man being a superhero. So this is, anytime Mercury is talking to anyone about being spiritual or being a superhero, this is Hermeticism right here. Great power comes great responsibility. With great fire comes a great water. If you want to be a great man, you're going to have to be a great woe man, straight up. And this is the problem with white supremacy. All these men hate women, and that represents how they hate themselves, so they don't want to be alone with their idea of God. So now they need to make money off of slavery, gaslighting, genocide, and lying to all of us about our history. So I promise, once you understand men is fire and women is water, children make way more sense, and your mind makes way more sense, and this atmosphere makes way more sense. So let's make it real simple. When you're standing as a human, you look up at air and down at earth. Externally, right? I can literally see anytime that I'm alive, when I look back on my memories, I'm looking up at air and I look down at earth. And this is true for the universes that I've been to, basically all of them, where because Earth comes out of air, the Earth is what we stand on so that we can all be aware of each other. So now once we're all standing on the same Earth, we can all be aware of one another. And that shows us that all of our minds built bodies to relate with one another. So now when I talk to my friends, when I talk to my family, when I talk to my foes, my enemies, when I talk to all these individuals that have all their own thoughts and feelings, I can see that all of our minds built bodies in the same atmosphere so that we can be aware of one another. And then this is where externally, I look up at air, I look down at earth. Internally, that means I look up at fire, I look down at water. And this represents how we all look up at men and we look down at women. Spiritually, all right, so no sexism, this is natural. Okay? This is so natural. This is so natural. This is literally why we have a bunch of jokes, just so many jokes about how girls will not want to be with a guy if he is not at least like 6 foot, especially on Tinder, right? I grew up going to college. Everyone had Tinder. That was a whole joke where girls would be super happy to go on a date with a dude who has nothing in his bio, just nothing in his bio, a bunch of random pictures, as long as it says 6 foot. She's happy with that. So there's a whole joke, and it's very real. I've had many talks with many women about it, and it's very real, where most of them will literally say that it doesn't matter how good of a personality a guy has. If he's shorter than them, they're not going to feel that physically attracted to him like they would if you just took that guy's personality and put it in a taller dude. It's sad, but we're talking about fire and water here. And then to balance that out, right? It's the same reason why most guys, they can find a woman super attractive, but if that woman is taller than them, they're going to feel the same way about a girl who is taller than her guy. That dude would rather be with a girl who's shorter than him. So this naturally, this is so natural. This plays out. And this is why women obsess over men's height. I mean, me growing up in this society, this is what women have been taught to obsess over, but also it's not really taught. That's why I'm kind of just saying this is elemental. So this is all about all of our spirits knowing that fire is the element that we express to look up at something, and water is the element that we express to look down at something. So what that means is, when you understand that your fire is your man, your woman's your water, you as a spirit are masculine when you are separating yourself from the universe. And when you separate yourself from the universe, that plays out as other people looking up at you. And that's basically what fire is. So when we imagine stars, when we look at stars seems to play out like fire, yet we're all in one big body of water. This is the energy around that. It's about separating yourself inside of a circumstance so you can be seen as a star. And now you know your feminine element, your feminine essence is your water. And that water is the emotion that actually allows you to make your fire matter. So if a man doesn't have a woman, his imagination doesn't matter. If a woman does not have a man, her emotions don't matter. So this is why men need women and women need men to actually make matter. And now we have reality, we have existence, we have fire, water, air, and earth. So overall, from my astral travels and my experiences and all my communications, it seems that women do not want to be with a man that's shorter than them because women identify as water. And when a spirit identifies as water, they get born as a woman. So if they identify more as water, then they get born as a woman. If you as a spirit identify more with fire, you'll be born as a man. This is what it is. It's about elements. So they don't teach us elements. White supremacists, they don't teach us any of this because they don't want us to be happy. They don't want us to feel like we even have a choice. They don't want us to understand where we're coming from. I want you to understand where you're coming from. So this is what's up. If you are a man, then you identify more with your fire. You obviously still have water or else you wouldn't exist. If you're a woman, you identify more with your water. You obviously still have fire or else you wouldn't exist. So this is why men and women are natural. This is why we really have dicks and vaginas. So you can see fire goes out, water goes in. That's a dick and a vagina, isn't it? Like, you see how dicks overall are about fire. It's about shooting out a flame. And vaginas are about water. It's about holding on to the flame and creating life out of it. So what I'm saying is straight up facts, okay? I'm talking about how we all create reality from the inside out, from the outside in. How do we turn spaces into structures? This is how. Women don't want to look down at men basically for the same reason we don't want to feel like our water is on top of our fire. Because on a spiritual level, if our fire is on top and our water is on bottom, that means our fire has the atmosphere to breathe. And our water can build something to support our atmosphere. So this is how fire turns into air, water turns into earth. But if a woman is with a man that's shorter than her, subconsciously, this makes her feel like that her emotional energy is overtaking the fiery masculine energy of her man, which means now she's the man in the relationship on a physical level. And then this is where if you're a man who's shorter than your woman, but you actually have like spiritual masculine energy, then the physical reality doesn't matter that much. But we can see that physical reality does matter. This is why women care about the height of guys so much. They care about it a lot. It all comes down to straight up elemental attraction. If a woman is taller than her man, she feels like she's more of a man than he is because she's not looking up at his fire. Now, if she is spiritually looking up at his fire, then those relationships work. It doesn't matter. I know those relationships. I've seen them. Those women look up to their man. So the guys who are shorter than their women physically, they're doing things mentally, emotionally, spiritually to where they're still creating a fire that their woman is looking up to. So even though their woman physically looks down on them, she spiritually looks up at him and the relationship works out. They're super happy. I'm just talking about physically why this is a thing, right? So now over to the guys, same thing. If a guy is with a girl and he has to look up at her, he feels emasculated. And that guy would much rather be with a woman who is shorter than him because now he can feel more like a man. Because if a guy is with a woman, a girl, I using these terms interchangeably, guy, boy, girl, woman. Understand elements, fire, water. So if a fire is with a water that's taller than him, he feels like his fire is being overtaken by that water, which means that she has more masculine energy because her water is coming from fire that he can't see. So I'm just putting words to why men want to be taller in the relationship and why women want to be shorter. Women want to be shorter and men want to be taller. Women want their man to be taller and men want their women to be shorter. And we see this naturally in human society, no matter what language you're speaking, because it's about the elements of fire and water. So no sexism. Now you can see that you are a man and a woman. All right. And now the whole point of looking down at women is understanding that you look down at your emotions because your emotions are the lowest part of your space. So water is the lowest part of my space. Literally, when I become super sad, I cry. What happens to that water? It doesn't rise like if I light fire. Fire rises. Fire rises and creates air, but water, that falls. And there will be sediment and earth, minerals that come out of that water. So straight up, the only reason I'm alive right now is because this universe is so fucked up and so depressing that I cried. And me crying out of my soul, those teardrops, that vibration is allowing me to beat my heart and be here talking about what I care about. Now, I did this because the universe is so messed up. I mean, this Earth planet universe, this Earth planet is so messed up. There's a bunch of planets in the universe. So this planet is so messed up that I chose to come here because I was so depressed about what I see. But in general, that's still true for all of us. The point of understanding your fire is first before your water is you knowing that you are alone in your own idea of heaven before you choose to enter hell. And this is where hell, as water, shows you that your emotions brought you here. And your emotions are keeping you here. So your emotions are keeping you in hell. This world that we're in right now is hell. And your emotions, your heartbeat, is keeping you in hell because you want to be here, because you're choosing to bring heaven to earth. And then that's the point of your heaven being your man. You have your idea of what God's perfect space looks like. But now you have to bring that into a reality where you can interact with spirits who have their own idea about what God's perfect space looks like. Now we have cultures. Now we have all of our different religions. Now we have all of our different systems. But we're all relating inside of nature. This is why I, as symmetry, as Mercury, am all about nature being the first matrix that allows all of us to make our minds matter. And your mind creates nature to make itself matter. So this is why matrix, nature, it's all about you using your mental mathematics to construct a simulation that allows you to build the best civilization. And now you can be civilized inside your own simulation because you have your own mental mathematics worked out. It's pretty lit. And it's all about you correlating your man to your fire, all right? And your woman to your water. Your man is your power. Your woman is your responsibility. So your woman is responsible for the power that your man has. And this is witchcraft that has been weaponized against all of us. Marvel teaches us that we are all responsible to uphold their religions. The Holy Bible teaches us that we're responsible to hold up the church. So this is how they weaponize my energy. They weaponize Spider-Man to the backwards white supremacist way. They steal everything from Quetzalcoatl, who tells you what I'm telling you now. You're responsible for your own power. And instead, these racist religions turn it into, actually, you're responsible for our power, slavery. And now the banking system is stealing all of our energy, doing whatever they want, and then they lie about it because they say that we're responsible. And then they can always scapegoat it and put it on the people because this is the witchcraft. They are weaponizing everything from Mercury so that they can teach us the opposite of what I'm sharing right now. And that's how they get us to support slavery overall. When we feel like we're responsible for someone else's power, that's hell. You see that? So that's why hell is responsibility. Power is heaven. Someone else is in heaven. The banking system, the people who made the banking system, they're in heaven. Everyone that they bring the banking system to so that they can steal our land and steal our resources and steal our families and our flesh and our bodies, we're in hell. Because now we, as the black people, we're taught that we're responsible to uphold the power of what white people want for us and what white people want for the world. So this is how they've weaponized colors to erase our individuality. And that's why I've created Colorful Consciousness. You can check that out. So spiritually, when you look down at your woman, your own woman, all of your women, those are your emotions. So all these emotions that connect you to the universe outside of yourself, that's your woman. And when you look up at yourself, that's your man. That's your highest idea of God. So this is literally why all of us, when we think about God, we look up. This is natural. You know, when people think about God, I don't see them look down. I literally don't see people think about God like, oh, where's God? And then they look down. That's just not natural. So this is why God is the fire element. So all of us in our own spaces, we are all God, because when we imagine who God is to us, that's infinite. My imagination of who God is never ends. That's why I have all these past lives that no one knows about except me and everyone that I've created those past lives with. But no one knows how they're connected except me as a space that is imagining God before I'm making my idea of God relatable with other gods. So now I see every space as an individual God, because I know that I have to be the individual God that's choosing to connect with other individual gods. So in all the universes I've ever been in, God is always a concept of all of our individuality coming together to create one imagination. And this is where people can get lost in the idea of God saying, oh, the imagination that created you, it created all of us. None of us are creative, only the imagination is. But the fact that you even have the idea of what creativity means that that's your fire element. And your fire element, your idea of God, brought you into a universe where you can relate with other individuals' ideas of God. But it's all about your mind, okay? And it's all about alchemy. So this is overall why women want to be on the bottom and men want to be on the top. It's the same reason why fire wants to be on the top, water wants to be on the bottom. You don't really see water being on top with fire being on bottom. If water is on top and fire is on bottom, there's actually no fire, because the water just kills the fire, it falls, and now there's no idea. So this is literally what happens when spirits don't have their own imagination. If they don't have their own man, their masculine element, then spirits will look up to their emotions. And that's where you get people who don't know where they are. So like everyone in the universe who looks up at the sky and feels like they're looking up at their emotions, they're drowning in being a victim. And this is why the pharmaceutical industry is so big. This is why all these mental health things are so huge. This is why people have mental health problems overall, because they don't know what I'm talking about here. So because people don't feel spiritually like they're responsible for their own power, their mind gets fucked up from all the thoughts. And then people think, and especially this white supremacist system, they think, oh, we can just give you a new chemical. That'll fix the way that you're thinking. No, nothing's going to fix the way that someone is thinking besides changing their environment and changing how they perceive reality. But they do that by forcing Ritalin into children and giving us a bunch of drugs that completely destroy our bodies from the inside out. So, very sad. This is why it's essential to look up to yourself. So if you feel like you're a victim of your own emotion, that means that you're drowning in your own woman. That means spiritually you feel like you're drowning in your ocean of emotion, and now your emotion, your ocean of emotion, you're going to keep giving energetic motion to you being a victim. And this is what so many women do overall, and what so many of us do just as people, because all of us as humans are very feminine when we get into our fear. And fear itself is a feminine element, because fear is the emotion that we feel when we don't think or feel like we're in control of what's happening around us. And that's the element of physical reality. That's really the emotion of physical reality. So that's why physical reality is correlated to water, and metaphysical reality, spiritual reality, more correlated to fire. Because your spiritual reality is your imagination, and that brings you into the physical reality that allows you to make your imagination relatable with imaginations outside of yourself. And then this is where physical reality can kill your imagination and make you really sad. And if you don't know why you chose to enter that physical reality, you're going to feel like a victim of yourself. You're going to feel separated from God. Now you're forsaken. Now you're going to be praying to God like, why me, God? Where are you? All because you forgot why you chose to connect with individuals outside of yourself. So this is why emotions, you look down at emotions. Because on a spiritual level, all universes are below you. All universes are below you. The moment you use your emotions to connect with a universe, that's you bringing your fire down into density, into water, air, and then earth. So now when I'm here experiencing earth, I know that it's because I'm inside of water that my fire brought me to. So when I imagine my fire, my man, no one can see that. But no one can see that doesn't mean that I can't express what I'm seeing. But I wouldn't be able to express what I'm seeing with my fire if I did not choose to be in the same water as you, right? So we have to be in the same water. You and I have to be in the same physical reality before I can express my imagination to you. But obviously, just because I have thoughts and feelings doesn't mean I'm either of these things. Just because I think about fire and I feel like water doesn't mean I'm either fire or water. So this is why it's important to know, you as a spirit, you're not a man or a woman. But once you start to express yourself, you're going to identify as some spectrum of elements. And this is, why you don't have to be a man or a woman. But if you have a dick, you're going to correlate more to fire. If you have a vagina, you correlate more to water. And we're just talking about how light moves. Okay, so the one substance that we use to create all realities, that's what we call light. And elements describe how our emotions transition light from one form to another. So light, when it plays out as fire, that represents our one. When light plays out as water, that represents our two. So man is one, woman is two. Now we can see why most people imagine God as a man. I've met so many women. I've interacted with so many women in my life. So many women. Not one of them has imagined God as a woman. It's baffling to me, but I'm pretty sure this is why. Men imagine God as a man and women imagine God as a man, because it's really the fire element, okay? And especially in Christianity, because Christians worship a big ball of consuming fire, causing climate change, raping everybody, literally, then that's a big reason why. But even then, Christians are literally just weaponizing what they stole from me. Hermeticism, Zoroastrianism. So God is fire. Your God is your fire, because your idea of God is an expression of your desire overall. And that's what we would call then your ego. So this is why your ego is not aware of what my ego is. And now my relationship with God is completely individual to my space. You can't really speak on my relationship with God beyond your space. So at that point, projection is perception, perception is projection, literally. You can only see me really the way you see yourself. And that's why we all find the balance on Mercury, where we can build structures out of how we see ourselves that allow us to see how other people see themselves. And now we can all see ourselves together. And now we can see each other. And now we're building together. And look, our names matter. History matters. Life is a thing, right? So I hope this was helpful. This is why men are fire, women are water. Your thoughts, your awareness, that's your fire. That separates you from everyone. So obviously my thoughts separate me from everyone in my life. No one thinks like I do. But your water, your emotions, connect you to others. My emotions connect me to everyone in this reality. So because we all have emotions, we're all beating our heart as humans inside of one atmosphere. And now we can talk about how we see God. So we keep it going. If you would like to learn how all universes are created by our individual consciousness, all of our infinitely individual forms of consciousness choosing to communicate with one another. That's how every universe is created. It just happens through elements and nature. Then visit chasergenes.com. Because the point is, we create nature. I know I'm creating nature because I can watch the cells in my body grow right now. And if I remove my mind from this body, my body would stop growing, right? Literally, if my body stops breathing, if my mind stops breathing air into this earth body, my body will stop producing the material that allows me to exist. So that shows me that my mind is building my body. And now I can see that my mind's building my body based on my fire and my water, my man and my woman. So my mind's a child, my body's a temple or the home. And now my man is my fire, my woman is my water. And when they come together, they create a consciousness that allows me to give birth to new ideas. And that's what it means to be the true son of God, all right? So that's what the sun in the sky is. So that's what the sun is overall, us giving birth to new ideas. And the ultimate idea that allows us to see where we're coming from is light. So this is why everything in nature, in all universes, is made of light turning into matter. light turns into matter the same way that all forms of matter are actually energy vibrating at a certain frequency. So now once you can see that everything in nature is light turning into matter based on weight, this is where we get Spider-Man saying that each universe itself is a weight of light turning into matter that we're all using to relate. And this is why we have the concept of the universe expanding. It's all based on our emotions, our thoughts, and the actions that we take combining these things. I'm expanding the universe by making this video, and only I could make this video. Only I could make this series. Only I could build this website. So if you want to learn how you have created the ability to be conscious of everything that you're connecting inside of, then visit chaseyourgenes.com, practice Hermeticism for yourself, and we're just going to keep leveling up for infinity and beyond. Much love. Peace out. Yeah.